Oh, okay. All right, y'all. I thought I wasn't even gonna make another video, but I forgot. I wanted to really talk to people about this. I just got my Mirena in like a few months ago. I think I put it in, or I had it put in June, in like mid-June, and people told me such good stuff. They were like, oh my God, I didn't have any hormonal issues. Like I wasn't emotional. I didn't have my period anymore. It's just the most fantastic thing ever. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get this done. And I had a wine tasting trip that I was supposed to go on like a week after I got my Mirena in place. I looked it in. It said that you could have sex a week after getting your Mirena. So I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect. So I put my Mirena, I made the appointment for the Mirena, and then my friend that was like, yeah, get it. She was like, don't think you're going to be celebrating getting your Mirena in, because once they put it in, it's like really gross. Like stuff is coming out of you. And I was like, oh, well, hopefully after a week it'll clear up, because I had already made the appointment, and the wine tasting was super expensive. It wasn't me that paid for it. It was like a guy that I was dating. He ended up being really crazy, but it was going to be like $1,200 for the wine tasting. So we couldn't cancel it because he had already made the thing. So I was just like, hopefully this is not going to be disgusting. So I went and got the Mirena in. I was really nervous that it was going to be very painful. And actually, it wasn't really painful. It was like a little uncomfortable. But just so that you know, I've already had 2 kids. I did not have them vaginally. There were 2 C-sections. But I did go the whole 9 months. And so for both of my kids, I think I had dilated almost all the way. So my cervix is pretty open. A full human didn't come out of it, but a head almost did. So my cervix is loose, but not like that loose. But anyways, when they put it in, it just felt a little uncomfortable. I didn't need any numbing stuff or anything like that. One girl was like, oh, I almost blacked out when they put it in. I didn't almost black out. It was just like a little like, ugh. I also found out I have a retroverted uterus. So for those who have it, you'll understand. She had to like put the speculum in like really deep and like push. That was uncomfortable. And then afterwards, she had to do the ultrasound thing on my stomach to make sure that it was in the right place. But she said it was in the right place. She's like, you're good. I had a pad on. I was prepared because what my friend said. And when I checked the pad later, it was like some brown stuff that had come out. And it was coming out for the rest of the day. But it wasn't like huge amounts, and it wasn't like really disgusting. It was just like a little bit of stuff. Like, kind of really wouldn't want to be doing anything. Because it wasn't cute. Like, God forbid you have white sheets or something like that. So, we went wine tasting, and it actually was okay. Like, it was alright to do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you had huge amounts of blood. Everybody's different. And then after I came back from the wine tasting, so this was like a week after that. Like a week after that, I went to New York to visit my parents. I remember specifically, so this was 2 weeks later. I remember specifically once I went to New York, I started with full-on night sweats. Like cold night sweats. I would wake up and my sheets would be completely soaked. I just remember this because I would like wake up when I was in New York with my parents, and the entire bed, everything that I was laying on, like I would actually want to move to the other side of the bed because where I was laying was wet. You know, it was gross. Like head to toe, like I had just went swimming. Every night, every single night after, while I was in New York at that time, so this was like around 2 weeks, I was fully wet. I also broke up with that guy. He was horrible. I'm not going to go into the story right now, but maybe I'll make another video about it. I was crying. But I was crying a lot. Now, my ex-husband was violent, so I was just unsure if this breakup wasn't pulling into my PTSD from the last relationship. So that's why I just kind of let it let it slide, and I wasn't thinking anything of it, because I was like, maybe I'm just really super devastated because this has reminded me of my ex-husband, because that was the last, like, I've had like on and off relationships, but that was the last serious relationship that I really had in the last 5 years, and it was so violent. I haven't really gotten therapy. He really tried to kill me. This is a really dramatic and long story, but the whole point is it was very disturbing what happened, and then this situation was also very disturbing. I found another psychopathy, and I figured the two just connected, and that's why I was crying. I mean, like, every day, like, full on, like, sobbing, like, dramatic, and I was just like, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just disturbing, and I should have got the therapy, and I didn't. So now I'm like freaking out because I'm having PTSD. But at the same time, I'm having these like night sweats every night, So I thought that was weird, but I was like, whatever. Then I come back home, and I'm like, oh, my job sucks. Every day I'm just like really depressed, and even people at work are noticing it, and they're like, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, I think it's just this breakup, and so I'm telling everybody about the breakup and stuff, and telling everybody about my ex-husband. I'm too open, and they're like, "Oh, I just noticed that you're really sad," and then I'm just like, "Oh, my job, like I'm so sad being here. Maybe I need to look for another position just because, like, I just don't know what to think." Then I start like gaining weight, and I'm like, "Well, my friend told me that the Mirena doesn't make you gain weight." But I'm like working out. I'm still working out. I work out pretty much like every day. I try to do 1 hour to 2 hours every day. And I was like, maybe I need to eat better. I also started with the thinning of the hair, which I already made a video about that. But I'm like, this has been going on for a long time. I also don't eat meat and stuff like that. But the night sweats are continuing. I'm still very emotional, very sad, which is not me. I'm just normally just a happy person. So then after a while, I started to stop making excuses for everything, and I started to Google it, like the Mirena. And I'm like, I wonder if this is the Mirena causing me issues. And I started to see that girls are complaining of some of the same things. Being very emotional, having hair loss, having night sweats. And so I'm like, I wonder if this is the Mirena. But I didn't think anything, I wasn't able to do anything of it. Now, my parents had scheduled me for a trip. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like a month later. I went to Oklahoma in September, and I went to Rochester in August, I think. So I think it was a month. It didn't feel like a month because I was working every day, and I was so sad, all this stuff. But yeah, I think it was a month later, we went to Oklahoma. And I was like totally California, dressed in my flip-flops. And we went to Stroud, which nobody really knows where Stroud is, but it's like, I just realized I just was supposed to meet up with my cousins. I'm gonna have to hit them up. Anyway, because they're from Oklahoma too. But so Stroud is like way, way out in the country. And we got out there, and the guy was like, hey, and he was like, I'm the pastor. And they were like, oh, I didn't think, because he was just like wearing pants and a t-shirt. And they were like, oh, I didn't know you were in charge of this area. He was like, oh, I'm just dressed like this because I just cut the grass. Now, I'm looking around in the grass, and we way out in the country. I'm looking around in the grass, and I'm like, because it's mad little bugs. It's like little roach-looking things. It's little flying-looking things. It's a bunch of stuff, and he's talking about he just cut the grass. I didn't think anything of it, though. And I would just remember they were like, oh, come on, let's go stand over next to this building and take a picture. And I'm walking over to the building. And when you get closer to the building, it's like mad bugs. It's just like, it's just teeming, just crawling. And I was like, Mom, I can't stand over there. Mom, I can't stand over there. I'm just going to stand over here. But I got pretty close. I had my cute little California flip-flops and stuff like that. And I was like, hurry up, get me away from all of these bugs. Anyways, by the time I walk away from the area, I start feeling it itching. My feet, my ankles, I was like, okay, they got me. My left shoulder, and I was like, ooh, they got me. And I'm like, what was I thinking? Wearing this cute little California clothes. Like, you're supposed to be wearing sneaker, socks, pants when you out in the country because it's stuff out there. Like I said, I didn't think anything of it. By the next day, I started waking up, and I'm having these bumps, and they're itching. And I was like, oh, man, this place got bed bugs. And the next night, I have more bumps. I woke up in the morning, and I had one bump on my cheek. and then the bump like on my shoulder and the bump on my stuff. And I was like, ooh, I hate this hotel. It's so nasty. But this is like a high-end hotel that we were staying in. But I was like, oh, it's like you Oklahoma, you know, these hotels, they're not like, you know, in regular areas. So I get on a plane, I fall asleep. By the time I get back to California, the rash on my face is bigger. And this rash is bigger, and the rash on my like abdomen is bigger. And I'm like, what in the hell? Something really nasty bit me, but why is it growing? I'm not even in that hotel anymore. I took some wine because it was itching like fire, and I thought I was gonna die. And I was like, well, the only way that I can not scratch this is drink. And, you know, usually if you have like a bug bite, you know, within 24 hours to 48 hours, the itching subsides. It was crazy. So I like had like a glass of wine. That's kind of all I need. Like 1 or 2 glasses and I'm done. I had like a glass or 2 of wine. I went to sleep. The next day I woke up, the rashes were even bigger. And that picture that you see, that's the thumbnail, that's the rash that was on my abdomen. They kept getting bigger, and they were like bubbly, and it was just spreading. So I went to work, I came back, like the whole side of my face, by the time I got to work, this whole side of my face and here was like really big and dark. My abdomen, it was that nasty rash that you saw on my thumbnail that was all over my face. It was so disgusting. It was nasty. So I went home. I think I went home and went to sleep. I don't remember. But I went to the urgent care. The doctor told me it was not a bug bite. This has started to scar. It was like growing that fast. I had started having bumps all over my entire nose. The whole side of my face, like it looked like a really bad like teenage acne. And I don't get acne. Never have. So he put me on steroids. He put me on some steroids by mouth. I got a shot. And then he told me to take Benadryl around the clock, Zyrtec, Zantac. I mean, I was like loaded. And then I had an extra strong steroid cream. I think it's called like clobetasol. And he told me do not put it on my face because it will start. I took 2 days off of work. This bump started going down, but you know, the steroids decrease your immune system. And then the other stuff will decrease the histamine. So it's not that whatever is in the bumps or whatever is causing the bumps, that doesn't go away. The steroids and the antihistamines just work to decrease your body's reaction to whatever is happening. And I'm thinking that my own like working out and everything is just going to allow, you know, whatever to come out of my system. I have 5 days of PO steroids to do. By the time I finish the steroid course, and, you know, I'm still taking Zyrtec around the clock, Zantac around the clock, Benadryl around the clock, you know, the bumps, once I finish the steroids, the 5-day course, the bumps start coming back. And I get bumps on different areas. Bumps here, bumps here. These are coming back. And this is, you can still see it where it's scarred. And they're getting stronger. This never really came back. But then this was starting to come back with bumps. I had a bump on my ear. Anyways, I Googled the Mirena because I was like, this is not right. I don't get bumps like this. I've changed locations. I've went from Oklahoma to Connecticut. The guy said that it was not a bug bite, so I know it's not bed bugs or something that's biting me. He said it looks like my body is just having a reaction to something. I'm still having night sweats. I'm still having emotional, like craziness, you know, being very emotional. So I start to Google it, and sure enough, when I start to Google it, all of those symptoms are the same symptoms that hundreds of other girls are complaining of with the Mirena IUD. Now, I was thinking because it was an IUD that the hormones are going to be released locally, so you won't have systemic reactions, but I'm having systemic reactions to it. I talked to my sister about it. I talked to some of the girls at my job about it, and they were saying not the same thing. The itchy rash is if you look it up, it says the urticaria, which I'm sure I'm not saying that right, but basically the itchy rash, unknown itchy rash, is a reaction. It's more rare. I think I saw one study said like only 700 girls have been complaining about it, but to me, 700 girls is statistically like relevant for me because I'm having it. Girls at my job were saying they were having issues with being emotional. I told my friend about it, and she was like, I got a patient in the back right now that is pregnant with the IUD. And I'm like, how did I get this? So I start to look it up, how to get the IUD pulled out. It was going to cost $100, and then they were going to pull it out, you know, like when I make the appointment, like in 2 weeks or whatever. So this is not what I recommend anybody doing. But I pulled it out myself. Like, I went in the shower. I put myself, you know, in the position to, like, get, you know, pelvic when you go to the doctor. I put my feet up and back. I know some girls online were saying that they had, like, their boyfriend fish for the strings and then pull it out. But I don't got nobody. I needed to just pull it out myself. So I just got in the shower so that way I knew it could be clean. I'm not going to give myself, like, a terrible infection. And I just fished for the strands, and I started to pull and pull and pull. Now, I know people were saying, you know, like, if you feel pain, don't do it. Also, you could scratch the wall of your uterus. You could, you know, and then never have kids. I have 2 children, and I'm also 35, and I'm also single. So I'm not looking for any kids, and I'm probably not going to have any kids. Any more kids, that's what I mean. So anyways, I pulled that out in the shower. It was a little blood on it, but it didn't hurt. And also they say that the IUD works to make the lining, the blood lining in your uterus, inside your uterus, thicker. So I did expect to see some blood come out with it. All the stuff online were saying if you're gonna pull it out yourself, make sure you're on your period. But my periods have been funny. That's another thing. My period, I've been bleeding for like a week and a half, like almost 2 weeks. It's been just like continuous bleeding. I haven't actually stopped. Like, I'll stop my period like a week before my period's supposed to start. So I pulled it out. That was 2 days ago. I'm still having night sweats. I'm still having the itchy bumps, but they're not as bad. And actually, I haven't taken Benadryl for the last couple of days, and the bumps are getting a little bit better. Like, you could see this one on my face. It's going down. See, it's not red. It doesn't look inflamed anymore. That thing looks so nasty and inflamed. But it did scar my face. It makes me so sad. I don't have... You could see... Look. Okay, that looks like a scar. But if you just look at my face, like, I don't have any makeup. I don't have any foundation on. I just don't have acne. Never have. Don't have acne scars. So that's really sad. Sorry, I'm drinking my coffee. As far as my emotional, the day that I pulled it out, I felt like shit. I was at work and I felt like I wanted to cry. Like, for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, a girl asked me for vent settings. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was BiPAP. A girl asked me to read BiPAP settings, and I was, like, confused. And I thought I was going to start crying right on the spot. Like, I don't know what they are. That's just not me. You know? People were asking me about stuff, and I was just like, I pulled up my ID yesterday. Like, that's what I was doing the whole day. It was the craziest thing. I still am having night sweats. I woke up this morning, and I was very hot, and I was, like, sweaty, but the full bed wasn't wet anymore. So it's not as bad. It wasn't, like, soaking wet. I started bleeding today and yesterday. I had to actually put on a pad today, which my period's not supposed to be starting, so that's weird. I don't know what else is weird, but I feel better. I feel like a little bit better. I think it's still too soon to tell. But I don't know, man. They really need to do a study about what's going on, because the night sweats is actually a very normal side effect, it seems. And everybody has different experience. But if you look up the symptoms that I'm talking about and you go online, you will see that girls are complaining about the same and similar things. This stuff is statistically relevant because there's enough girls, you know, thousands, that are having these same situations. Those scarring, itchy, rash, same treatment, same symptoms. Go to the doctor. Doctor doesn't know what it is. Says that it's some sort of reaction. It's not a bug bite. The same steroids, the same Benadryl antihistamine with the steroid cream treatment that they're getting with no answers. The same emotional reactions, you know. I mean, this stuff works for some people, but it doesn't work for me. At the same time, you know, if you take pills, birth control pills, the side effect could be a you know, debilitating stroke. That doesn't happen very often. In my whole career, I've only seen one woman have a full-on stroke because of birth control. But it does happen, you know, so I guess this is not as bad as having a full-on stroke. But I'm not sexually active at this time because since I broke up with that guy, I'm alone. It's not worth it. I just had to pull that thing out. And I couldn't wait 2 weeks and let this rash grow. And this one and the one on my abdomen. I couldn't do that. So I pulled it out. I don't recommend that everybody do it. But that's my story. If you have a better OB, maybe you could make an appointment, an emergency appointment. And they could pull it out quicker. Than having you wait a week with all of these crazy symptoms. And it seems like this is going to take a while to actually come out of my system. Which is very funny. Because it's not supposed to be systemic. So then why should it be building up in your system? And you know what I mean? Like, this is not supposed to be systemic. It's supposed to just be local. I don't know if people are really explaining stuff. And I don't know why people are so happy to prescribe these things to you. Like, oh my God, get the IUD. It's so great. It's great because what? Because we don't have to remember it every day. People are still getting pregnant on it, you know? I mean, if people use the natural method, I believe the natural method works. Of course, I have 2 kids, but both of those times were times when I wasn't using the natural method. I've been married. My son, I wasn't married when I had my son. So I was married once before my ex-husband. I got pregnant with my ex-husband. My first ex-husband, we were married for probably, I don't know, I think the whole marriage was... it's less than a year. We only lived together for 2 months. But whenever he was in the military, so that's why he was gone for a long time. So even though we were married, we weren't actually together. But we were having sex, unprotected sex, whenever we could during the marriage. And at that time, I was just using the natural method. And it worked, because I don't have any kids by him. So I think the natural method, you know, if you look it up, you'll find stuff on it. You can download yourself an app, so that way you can keep track of your periods. But I just wanted to put this video out there so that way anybody who is going through something similar, any of these similar issues, you're starting to have a rash, that scars, that itches, that nobody knows what it is, you've had an ID in place, you're having night sweats, you're feeling very emotional, and people are telling you, like if you look online, the girls are saying that their physicians are laughing at them when they're saying they're having side effects to the IUD. But if you look up the studies, there are studies with hundreds of girls complaining about these same things. Of course, they're saying that it doesn't matter because many more girls don't have any symptoms, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. You know, you always have that one person that's allergic to peanuts. That doesn't mean that if you have an allergy to peanuts, you're a crazy person and you deserve to be laughed at. No, many people eat peanut butter and enjoy peanut butter, but you do have the 1 or 2 person that can't even be around peanuts or shellfish and they'll die. It's very sad that the medical community has gotten to this point where we don't recognize the outliers. There are outliers. There are people like us, and we are not able to tolerate Mirenas and copper IUDs, the people who have bad experiences. You may not be one of those people, but if you are not crazy. This is really happening to you, and it's totally okay if you pull it out. There are other things that you can look up and see if they work for you. You don't have to be scarred. You don't have to change or ruin your life. And that's it. I don't want to drag this on. I hate videos that drag on. Get it pulled out if you're having an issue. Thanks for listening. Bye.